right, we should be live now. Just check here. Let me pop out my chat. So this is a little frustrating thing here for me, because we obviously tried to get people to correct things the first time, and well, I'll explain what happened here. So we have these LCDs that we carry here. If I click this, so you'll see we have an LCD with a cable, and there's two cables included with the LCD. And yeah, it's for an MKS board or for the Crealities. It sometimes works with, it'll work with the Easy board. So the thing is with these LCDs, you'll see a lot of sellers where you'll plug these in and they don't work. So what I noticed was happening was the PCB that was running these was actually flipped on the headers versus the other 12864s. There's a white version of this made by another company. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to get these made and we're going to get the correct headers on there. And if you look, I'm going to see if I can switch somehow to my ARM camera so I can show you guys what happened here to us. And this is what's prompting me to do this video. So I've got my camera here. Let me focus this. So as you can see here, if I align these are the cables that came with the LCD. This is one of our LCDs. You can see it has the headers at the top here. And these are the cables. However, the supplier was originally shipping cables, so when I have these lined up, the two marked pins here, so you see the pin 1, which is the red one here, there was supposed to be the locking tab was supposed to be on the top, but instead you can see they shipped it with this because they figured out that if they flip one of the ends on the cable on the LCDs when these are rotated, then the screen will work. But what happened was, now that we fixed the LCD orientation on the headers on the board, they're now shipping the fixed cable with this, which I haven't had my guys check the cables because I assumed they wouldn't change the cables on me, but I was wrong. They did. So they changed the cables on me. So if I plug this in to my MKS board with the little keyed positions here. So if I go 1 to 1 and 2 to 2, and I plug my board in to give it power, it has firmware on it, we don't get anything, which is what would happen when the headers are reversed. So I was like, okay, what's going on here? Do I have bad cables? Well, on a whim, I said, you know what? Maybe they changed the cables, and I was right. So if I looked at the cables in the original picture. So if I switch back over here to my monitor, you can see here that on the cables themselves. So there's the keyed part. You can see it in the picture here. I don't know if I can. I think I can blow it up bigger. Yeah, here we go. So these are the original cables that were shipping to us. You can see the keyed portion here, the flat portion on both of them, and then we got the red stripe, and we go over here, we got the keyed portion, and the flat portion obviously you can't see. So these cables worked with the LCDs with the fixed headers. So what happened was they changed the cable on us, so it basically undid the fix where we specified that these LCDs need to be made with the headers rotated. But the thing is, this will work on some boards. We sell these in a bundle with the MKS, so I wanted to work with the MKS, which is why we made the changes. So basically, when our supplier switched these around, they undid the fix. So, but there's more complication to this. So I'm going to show you guys if I just rotate these. Now, even though there's a keyed portion, just flip it over and force it in. And then it'll go right in. It's just going to bulge this out a little. It's not going to hurt anything. And then now if I plug the cable in to power it, you'll see I've got my LCD here. If anybody's ever wondering what this little thing here, this is actually a contrast adjustment. But you can see here, the LCD works now. No problem. So let's go to the other thing here. So I had cables made that were longer LCD cables that worked with our original LCDs with the fix, and they also match the Creality. So if we look at, here's a Creality LCD cable. Okay, so this is how it was wired. So if I put these side by side, you'll see here there's a brown wire on the right and a black wire on the left on both sides with the keyed portion. Okay, that's how Creality does their LCD cables. So these are the 60 centimeter extensions we have. And if you look here, the keyed portion is on the same side. So we got the red line, keyed portion, red line, keyed portion. This is how the original cables were. So if I plug this extension in here, and that's my EXP1, so I'm going to go EXP1. And I got one other one here. Again, EXP2 to EXP2. This should work. Yep, we got LCD backlight, and look at that, it works. Works with the extensions. So now the thing is too, like, what if my extension supplier flips one of these ends? So that's the point of this video, show you guys how to make sure everything is going to be correctly hooked up. So as you can see here, it's really simple. So no matter if your cable's got the marking line on the left or the right, as you can see, I have a red line going here and a red line going here. And if I line this up with my board headers here, you can see they're matching up. Now, if I use the cables that are included with the LCDs, the ones that they switched out on us, you'll see that they don't match up. So you can see here, the keyed portion of the headers match if you line them up here. Which this is how they should be with the cables that were supposed to come with this. So I'm going to have some strong words with my supplier for these screens and basically be like, why the hell did you change the damn cables? Like, we had a working setup here. So if you look here, when I plug this in, the one, and we're going by the keyed portion, I plug this in, now it's flipped. So luckily this is an easy fix. All you do is take this out and you flip it around. But that defeated the point of us having these LCDs custom ordered with these flipped. So this is the kind of crap we have to deal with. And then when I see people posting in our group saying, hey, my LCD's not working, I'm like, why the hell isn't it working? Like, we made sure to get the right stuff. Well, then our supplier screws us. So this is the joys of dealing with some of these Chinese companies. You know, they change stuff on you with no warning, and then I have to sit here and make videos showing people, well, we tried, but here's how to actually verify that it works correctly. You know, I mean, there's not much more I can do. We can have all our guys check the cables, but, you know, you're talking a $9 product, and you know, we're spending tons of time checking these. We already opened these up and power these up because I wanted to make sure that people got LCDs with no dead pixels and all this other stuff. But as you can see here, I plug it in now, I flip the ends, and our LCD works. It's just really dim because of the light, and I'm running this off of USB power. I'm not running this off of the actual 12-volt power input. The LCD will be brighter running off there, but you can see it works just fine. So that's the TLDR on those. Basically, like, if you're replacing, let's say you have an existing LCD and you bought a cable from us or somewhere else, just check your orientation before you put it onto the printer. So let's say I had the Creality LCD cable here and I want to extend this because these 10 pins we sell, these longer ones, will work with Crealities. But you should check your pin orientation. So if I put the ends here, I've got my red marker on the right here. We see the alignment tab or whatever you want to call it here. And if I put this one next to here, my red should be on the right, and it's on the right all the time. So this 60 centimeter cable will work fine as a direct replacement for the Creality stock cable, which is what I had originally specified when we had the cables made. Now, if I take the cable that comes with the 12864 LCD, where they said, okay, well, we're just going to start changing the cables because we know we put the headers on wrong, but what my supplier didn't take into account was, hey, or he may not even notice, to be completely honest. He might not even have noticed that they switched it on him, which is something I didn't notice, to be completely honest. But if you see here, so I've got black on the left, the red stripe on the left. You see the cable with the red stripe. I got black on the left, and now the red stripe is on the right. So I would just rotate this one, if that makes sense. So you want to look for your identifying marker. Now, if you plug an LCD cable in backwards, it's not going to damage anything, as you can see. Like they're not going to fry your board. Now, if you cross EXP1 and 2, you might cause damage, but if you have it rotated, it's not going to do anything. As you can see, it just doesn't light. So I'll just show you guys again here one more time before I end this stream here. So, you know, we can go ahead and check all the cables and LCDs coming in, but the reality is something could get through. So I'd rather put this video out and be like, here's how you guys can test and see which way you need to orient your cables. So we got nothing lighting. You can see I got power on the board. Okay, no big deal. It's not lighting. Let me just take this cable, rotate it. And you don't even need to trim off that end. You can just push in the header, and then it works. Now, if you did get one of these from us and you don't want to flip the header, then contact us and we'll pay to ship it back to us. But that's all there is to it. So it looks like with the LCDs with the fixed headers, like these, where they have the cutout at the top, they work with the extension cables, but they don't work with the stock cables. So there's that, which is great. So this is the kind of fun stuff we get to deal with when dealing with these overseas suppliers. I can't even get these made in the U.S. For anything less than like $26, and people are complaining enough about our prices, so I'm forced to keep dealing with the Chinese on this stuff because people are cheap for the most part. You know, and I don't blame them. You know, when Amazon's selling the same thing for $12, and at the end of the day it works, you know, who cares if it says made in the U.S.? Like I care about certain things. But, you know, the reality is we have to go through the Chinese for this kind of stuff because they're able to make it cheaper than people in the U.S. can. But this is the kind of stuff you get to deal with. I just want to make sure that we have things documented. So if I have someone having an issue, they can look at this and go, okay, you know, just line up your headers and, you know, or just flip the cables. If you're not getting it lighting up, just flip the cables. That's really all you need to do instead of a long-winded explanation. But if you are replacing your cables, you can, like I said, take the new cable and see where your markers are. So like what by markers, I mean like pick a wire colors. Like this has 10 different colors. So I'm going to use the, you know, the brown. So brown is to red as red is to brown on these two in terms of the orientation. So if I've put these next to each other, so we still got brown to red. So I need to match up the other two ends with the keyed portion, and I've got brown to red. So hopefully that makes sense. And this goes for any LCDs with these 10-pin connectors, not just stuff we sell or comes in creality machines. What the important part is identifying where the lines are and comparing it to your stock cables. And like I said, let's say you know you don't have this, you know, you just bought these parts, you're not sure, just rotate the cable. So I'm going to have a very long discussion with my supplier because I fix one thing and they screw up another. I try to make this stuff easy for you guys, and you know, apparently they just find ways to screw it up even further. The fact that they changed these cables tells me that if they just recently found out that they've been screwing up these LCDs, because if you guys look on our channel, actually, this is really interesting here. If you look on our channel here, so if I go to, here, let me just search TH3D 12864 LCD fix. This was posted in February of 2017, before TH3D was even a thing. So I bought an LCD. I had an issue where it wasn't lighting, and I figured out that it was because of the cables here. So I was showing people here to just rotate the connectors, and this is before we even carried them. So this has been an issue for years, and so apparently the supplier I'm using figured out that they'd been shipping the LCD cables wrong, and they are shipping the ends wrong. So instead of changing the cables, or instead of changing the ends on the standard ones, because we have to custom order these to get these rotated, because the cables they were shipping with them worked with the MKS board and the rotated headers. And if you look at the genuine 12864, there's one that company that I think they're defunct now, but because the Chinese have undercut them, there was a company that originally designed this that was selling these, and their headers were rotated up. And at some point, when China copied these, and they are open source, so copy, let's use that loosely. The tabs were down here. You see on the PCB, it's actually marked. So I noticed, okay, well, I know this is an issue, so let's get these rotated from my supplier. And then they changed the cable on me. So it was all for nothing. But if the short story is, if you're not getting anything on your screen where you get this from us, you get this from another supplier, just flip your cables and you'll be off to the races. So I hate doing videos like this because it's just stupid. You know, I try to be like, oh, I'm going to get these fixed and we're going to get these working, and then they change the cables on me. Welcome to my life, guys. So I'll probably do another stream later today. I don't want to have too much information in this that might not be relevant a couple days from now. So just stay tuned. I hope this helps somebody out, whether you get stuff from us, you get stuff from other people. We're all in the same shitty Chinese boat here where, you know, we're trying here, and then they change stuff on us without even letting us know. So, yay, China.